A local gallery brings a twist to a corporate office with the latest exhibition, Riya. Let's head in.
A paper mess, a spilled drink, and a chunky telephone are just some of the items you might find in a traditional office. However, at the Young Soy Gallery, these objects are given a purpose to tell a story about our work culture and the bigger issues we often forget in our busy lives.
The idea of Reurgent kind of came about because we were just sitting in our office in January on a very boring day. We want to tell people that actually gallerists do have a corporate side as well, and then that's why we think it might be fun to put creative expressions and radical ideas into a very rigid office space.
What is so urgent about it?
Hong Kong is just a very fast-paced city. Everything is urgent. You see emails in your mailbox every day that says urgent, re-urgent, but then nothing is really urgent in that sense. So that's why we got the title, and then we want to link up with something that's on a greater scale. We want to talk about urgent issues in society.
And what makes this exhibition so special? Because obviously you use satire for almost most of your exhibition.
The Young Soy branding itself is already very satirical. We call ourselves Young Soy Gallery because Young Soy means ugly, like Young Soy in Cantonese. So everything that we do, it has a very satirical undertone to it. And this is very special as an exhibition because we're taking an office space, which is very unconventional as an art space. It's an exhibition that features 5 local artists' work, and then they are all concerned with various social issues in their artwork. So we have Go Hung, and then in his work, he addresses the housing issue in Hong Kong and also the widening wealth gap. Louis Jalbert, in his very abstract pieces, he tells us more about the hopelessness that's felt in our age because of the global recession.
Because you're using your own actually corporate office.
Yes, and this is the office where we work every day. So yeah, you might see some stains that we have created in this space. So it's very lived space in a sense. So there's emotions of us gallery workers being marked in this space as well.
Whether the artists are being playful or serious, their works serve as an urgent commentary on what's happening in our society.
I think good art creates a response, whether it's negative or positive, or creates an emotion, or gets people to think and gets people to talk.
I can see your artwork here. Can you tell us more about what it is?
Yeah, this piece today is titled Obstacle Course. So it is about the obstacles and barriers that women face in society and in corporate life. That's what this show is about. And so the snakes and ladders of the classic board game, typically the ladders are what ascend you, higher, and the snakes are what bring you down. And I feel this idea really applies to women today because we have been given so many ideas of how we're supposed to be. And I love to use these goddesses as symbols in my work, as a symbol of how I feel women should be fighting today.
And you mentioned about gods. Are you
Yes.
religious yourself?
I am not religious myself. I just see a very strong correlation between power structures in society, which is patriarchal, capitalist, and religious. I think they all go hand in hand and all feed off of each other, and a lot of them pretty much are male dominated. So I studied communications and eventually concentrated in gender in communications. That's what created this interest in me, and really I don't think it'll ever leave my work because it's just very important to me.
Yeah, and it's a reflection of yourself
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And going
Exactly.
back to this artwork, how different is it from your previous works? I know you've done cereal boxes.
The reason I got into those was to comment on nourishment, the female body, and power, and how our bodies are stigmatized and sexualized for the parts that are able to feed and create life, rendered powerless for these amazing things, and largely underrepresented in the world as well.
Meanwhile, another artist channels his inner boss persona in one of the rooms at the exhibition.
What is your artwork here for this exhibition?
I created a bunch of pieces that kind of work within the theme of office, as well as control. Our lives, especially when we work in the office, are extremely controlled, 9 to 5. And so I was really playing on that theme. Young Soy, when they were putting this concept together, they gave all the artists different roles. And mine was the boss. I used to live in mainland China for a very long time. And quite often I would go to visit factories that were making my clothing, and you would go to a boss's table and you'd have an ashtray and a sculpture like this and a picture with a famous person. And then here we've got like the CCTV cameras where you can monitor every element of the office. The other artists, because they've got different roles like cleaner and stuff like that, they're in the main room, and of course I can watch them on my screen here.
Yeah. And how do you feel actually now that you've got the boss role?
Well, actually, ironically, I spent most of my life as a boss. In China, I was an entrepreneur for most of my time there. I was always a boss, although I never had my own room.
And how long did it actually take you to design like every single detail in this room?
Not that long, actually. An alarm clock I've got up there that's got people queuing up to buy coffins. Yeah, it's all pretty fun, playful. I guess it took me, a day at most. Sometimes when you're creating oil paintings or series of artwork, you can overthink, you can get creatively stuck. But when you're just creating an office desk as an installation, it's actually a joyful experience. I really enjoyed it, yeah.
So I actually don't feel any pressure from being a boss.
No.
What do you want other people to actually think about when they look at your artwork? Like all these little bits of details, what do you want them to reflect on?
My artwork is very simple. It's pop artwork, it's fun, it's playful. It usually just actually brings a smile to people's faces.
I can see you're experimenting with different multimedia works like paper, oil painting. Do you think it's kind of a trend now that artists are actually using different materials to create art?
Yeah, I think that, there's still a very traditional sense with a lot of people that an artist is someone who sits there with a paintbrush. At the end of the day, art is all about the idea, because without the idea, it's just a decoration. But when it has an idea and story, and that's when it becomes art.
Since 2020, Young Soy Gallery has cultivated and celebrated emerging talents. At this exhibition, visitors can experience art that is compelling both visually and in its message.